What's up? This is DJ Sat One, Scratch Mechanics crew, coming live from Philadelphia, PA. Basically, I grew up in a household surrounded by music as long as I can remember, and my mother always had Motown playing. So I guess like I was introduced at a very young age since I can remember. And I had an older brother who was like 5 years older than me, and basically, you know, as every little brother, you know, wants to emulate the older brother, he was always into like whatever was new or hot or whatever. I got that influence from him. And you know, basically in like around, I guess 84, I was about 10 years old, is when hip hop, I really remember hip hop really hitting my house, because my brother was in high school at the time and basically would come home and with black books and tapes from these parties in West Philly. And you know, I was just, you know, as a little kid, it was just so intriguing because there was nothing like it. You know, it was basically, it was like in my house, it was like Motown. My dad listened to you know, Glenn Miller, and my brother was a rock dude. So like that was basically the sound in my house. And then, you know, hip hop came along and it was so new and so fresh. You know, as a little kid, it was just like my eyes opened up. And I really kind of attached to graffiti more than anything in the beginning. I basically started really getting into graph. And, you know, hip hop was like kind of like the soundtrack. When I would do black books, and you know, Lady B was basically a really big influence on me. You know, at that time, hip hop wasn't played on radio, so like the only time you could really hear hip hop was on Sunday. So like I would tape, you know, Lady B's show, and you know, that would basically be, you know my whole life for a good 5 years, you know, and I really was influenced by all that. Probably the documentary Style Wars. It aired on Channel 12. That really put a heavy impression on me of like what hip hop, it captured it, I really think, really well. I still watch it to this day. Whoever, if you never saw Style Wars, please go out and rent it if you're into hip hop. It's like, it's a must. You know, basically, you know, the graffiti, the breaking, it was all there, and it was just so raw. It wasn't, it basically, you know, as a little kid, it was like, oh my God, look at this, you know, the colors, the dance, the music. And I think that was like really what inspired me. Yeah, I had a klepto as a friend. And my house was like the hangout house. Everybody would hang out in the basement. And he came across a pair of 1200s. I never really asked him where he got them, but he couldn't keep them at his house. So, you know, by default, they stayed at my house. And basically that's kind of like my first set of turntables and kind of like how I got into DJing, you know, by default really. And back in the day, like there wasn't CDs of the songs Lady B was playing or anything. So like you would have to buy the 12 inches. So like I was collecting records very early before even thinking about DJing, just to get the songs that I liked Lady B playing. So, you know, and, you know, then my brother was coming home with the tapes from West Philly, and Jeff, you know, and Cash doing the Transformer scratch. And I was a kid, so I was like, Transformer? God, man, I love the Transformers, you know? And then, you know, hearing them do that, and that's what really got me into DJing, really was scratching. I wanted to learn how to do the Transformer scratch. That was like the biggest thing. You know, I didn't care about playing parties or anything. I just had to get that damn scratch down. And that's kind of like really, you know, for years, I didn't play parties. I just wanted to cut, you know? And later on, you know, friends of mine who started DJing also and started doing parties, and I started seeing them rocking parties. And that's kind of like what, later on, I became, you know, a party DJ. I went to Temple, Tyler. I graduated as a graphic designer. And, you know, I went to school. My mom, you know, was always about school, college. And, you know, she thought it was a fad, you know, and as I started like really, you know, getting momentum and getting more parties and started really making some money and really took it more and more serious. And the calls, I kept on getting calls, kept on getting booked. But my mom basically was just like, you know, okay, this is a fad. And then as I'm getting older and older, she's like, wait a minute, this isn't a fad. You know, it's like he's not getting a real job. This is what he's doing. And for a while, she wasn't really accepting of it. She was just always like, okay, what's your plan B? What's your plan B? She recently passed the cancer a couple years back. And before she passed, she came and saw me at dusk. And it was one of the coolest things. It's like after, you know, she came, you know, she saw me play. I was playing for like 1,000 people. And the next day she called me and she was just like, she's like, whatever I said, Joe, I get it now. And it was cool that before she left the planet, she accepted it, you know, which was really dope. And that was like really, you know, you always want to, get your mom's approval. So when I first started DJing, there wasn't too many white kids DJing, you know, and basically, you know, I got a lot of slack from my fellow, you know, kids I was going to high school with. You know, I got a lot of ridicule. Like, I called wigger, you know, stuff like that. You know, and basically, like, that was kind of hard for me because I didn't understand. Like, damn, you know, what's up? Like, what's wrong with me doing this? You know, and that probably was, you know, that kind of introduced me to racism because it wasn't in my household at all. So like that was kind of like a kind of shock. Like, damn, you know, that's the way you guys think. And then that just really made me like really think how fucked up people really are and how racist it is. And I think for a while it took me, I guess, it took me a while to get people's get their attention, like, oh, this dude, nah, he's serious, he's about this, you know. And I think that was probably my biggest obstacle in the very beginning. But now it's all, you know, everything's cool. Like, I kind of like the way it is now. It's like I don't even think people understand how it was then, and I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of glad it all came together, and like that's not even a factor now, you know. Traveling, you know, getting to see, you know, see this great fucking planet we live on, you know. It's like London, Japan, and also like I was very fortunate, and I ended up linking up with DJ Jazzy Jeff, who was an idol of mine, who I emulated, I looked up to, and you know, I met him through a mutual friend, and you know. From that day I met him, he took a liking to me and kind of took me along and kind of showed me the ropes. You know, I was a roadie for a while. I was an engineer at the studio, and like he actually showed me the ropes. And that was one of the things that kind of like I'm very grateful for. And like not too many people can say they link up and become friends with their you know, childhood idol. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I really like. You know, sometimes I gotta, damn, that's dope. You know, I gotta remind myself, like, this is cool, man. This is like, it's almost like a dream. You know, I took a hobby from the basement, and you know, now I'm 40 years old, still doing it. We were in South Africa. Jeff was actually doing a couple shows with Kenny Dope and Louis Vega, and we were on a safari. And basically, you know the safari, you know, with the open, you know, the open trucks or whatever. So, you know, we're checking out the tigers and what have you. And, you know, basically, you know, there's a call we do when we're on a road, like, ooh, ooh, you know, and we were messing around. Who knows, we were joking. And I think I went, ooh, ooh, and here there was an ostrich, kind of like right on the side of the truck. As soon as I went, ooh, ooh, he turned his head. He started coming at the truck. And look, we're still kind of like moving and like, yeah, whatever. We thought it was kind of funny. And all of a sudden, he started booking, and he started pecking. He started like trying to get at me, and I was like, wow, man, I'm in South Africa about to get taken down by an ostrich. You know, it's kind of a silly story, but you know, that's one of my, you know, funny memories of being on the road. You know, I did it for the right reasons. You know, I didn't do it for, you know, the fame, money. I did it because I love the culture. You know, and I still do it for the culture, and hopefully, you know. Because right now DJing is very confused. There's a thin line, you know, between like EDM DJs, scratch DJs. Like I still, you know, hopefully people like listen to what I did, and like hopefully it sparks like a younger kid to do, like to keep it going. You know, one thing I don't want to see in years to come, no more scratching, no more like that element of a DJ. You know, I really hope that I influence somebody to like continue this. You know.